three young drug runners are taught how to play chess. And the two younger ones don't really understand, so he has to explain, this is the kingpin. He's the man. They're like, okay, I understand the kingpin. And one of them says, well, where are we? Who are we? He says, these are the pawns. They're like soldiers. They're out of the game early. And indeed, those three young men don't make it through the series. End up shooting each other. Pawns in the game. So my chapter in the book is entitled, Playing the Game. David Simon sees what he does as Greek drama rather than Shakespearean TV. He says most TV is Shakespearean, right? Kind of good people wrestling with moral issues, kind of overcoming, tying things up in a little neat bow at the end of 44 minutes. He's doing Greek tragedy. Nobody gets out. Nobody escapes. We're all just pawns in this larger game. Our hero that we follow, Jimmy McNulty. Irish Catholic cop, big drinker, lives hard, plays hard. His partner, oh nice, I don't need that. His partner, Bunk, they take on, in the first season, they take on the Barksdale gang, kind of people who run West Baltimore. Second season shifts to longshoremen and looks at Baltimore from that side, people who are losing jobs. What about security? Are our ports secured? What's going in and out through the ports? Deals with Polish Catholics and their families. Third season goes back to the drug trade. We follow Stringer Bell. Is there going to be a new kingpin on the streets? It's about reform. What's the possibility of reform? You get a mayor, a young aspiring mayor who says, I will change Baltimore. I'll clean it up. Will the cops go along with the mayor? Is there too much corruption there? How do you root out crime in a fallen system, in a broken system? One cop takes it upon himself and says the war on drugs is a failure, it's a sham. I'm going to deregulate the area and say, if you want to do drugs, fine, just do it in this few block area. We'll call it not Amsterdam, but Hamsterdam. And we're not going to mess with you at this point. We'll look the other way in our war on drugs. Fourth season takes on education, takes you inside schools, follows the lives of 4 young students, and a new kingpin arrives as the others fall and go to jail. Proposition Joe unites East Baltimore and West Baltimore as the supplier. And the fifth season deals with something near and dear to Diane's heart. It deals with journalism and whether this war on drugs is being reported with authenticity. Are we caring about the inner city? Who's telling the stories? Why does David Simon care? Because he was a member of the press. Didn't have much hair then either. Tough investment in inner city and reporting local news. He's worried about the Fourth Estate. Are they doing their job? Are we allowing them to tell the stories that need to be told? His partner in the show, Ed Burns, was a cop. 20, 30 years on the streets. And after he was a cop, then he became a school teacher. So now you see all the pieces. We're studying, City Hall. We're studying the police. We're studying the education system. We're studying journalism. What makes the show work is the characters. Characters you haven't really seen or heard before. Omar, a Haitian, a gay Haitian man who is kind of a Robin Hood of the streets. He steals from the rich drug dealers as a way to kind of give back to his community. You have people like Bubbles, a homeless addict pushing his cart through the streets of West Baltimore. Will he escape? Will anybody escape? You have people like Kima, African-American, Korean-American, lesbian member of the police force for private life or public life. How does that all intersect? A woman in a man's world. You have killers like Snoop, a young woman you wouldn't even know was a woman because she has dressed herself up to be so tough to manage this cutthroat world. I looked in the chapter at 2 aspects of Baltimore's religious life. The chapter is about lived religion. Commander Irvin Burrell says it's Baltimore, gentlemen. The gods will not save you. You got to get used to it. There's Catholic Baltimore, white Baltimore, embodied by Jimmy McNulty. People like Presbolewski, Polish Catholic. Carcetti, Italian Catholic. Baltimore, the most Catholic city in America to some degree. The first cathedral in America was in Baltimore. Maryland, right? A Catholic state. Prime attention to the lived religion of the community. The season 2 all turns on the longshoremen who are having a fight with the local police. They're fighting over who's going to buy a stained glass window. Who's going to get the window dedicated by their union in the church. And so a religious fight becomes a fight in the streets. And the police take on the longshoremen because they're mad about whose donation is going to be accepted first in the local church. In the black community, it's not Catholic faith, it's more of a storefront faith. It's Baptist churches, it's AME churches. And Bubbles introduces himself at the AA meeting in the church basement as God's own drug addict. There in the church basement, he is given a chance for new life. His sponsor chases him season after season, rescuing him over and over and over again. By the end of the series, he's starting to clean up, but will it last? Will it stick? Will his new life that he's found really continue? Omar and his religious faith is the crux of season 3. He ends up in a battle against the Barksdale gang because the Barksdale gang assault his mother, shoot at him on a Sunday. He says, now that is breaking the gangster law, right? We all know that you don't shoot each other on Sunday. Shooting at my grandma in her chapeau, in her church lady hat, that is beyond the pale. And so he declares war on the gang. The gang brings in Brother Muzon, a Muslim, dressed sort of like Malcolm X. And he, in a sense, takes Malcolm X and the by any means necessary philosophy to a very, very violent level. And so they face off in the streets, killer on killer. Who will win? I'll let you decide for yourselves. And one, maybe the greatest moment of hope in that season 3 of Reform, Cuddy. A guy who's been in jail gets out on the street. How's he rebuild his life? Is reform possible? He turns to the church for help, and a deacon ushers him in and sort of says, we can get you started. You want to start your own business? We can help you. You want to create a gym for young people? We'll front you the money. And so he's able to be lifted up. The deacon is played by Melvin Williams, who was the most notorious drug dealer in Baltimore in real life during the 70s and 80s. It's really Melvin Williams' story that is behind the entire show. The drug dealer on the show is based on Melvin Williams' life. Why do they know so much about Melvin Williams? Who busted Melvin Williams? Ed Burns, the co-creator of the series. They're telling their own story, the Baltimore story. In conclusion. Why do I care? Why do I care? Why does this show speak to me so much? Young people. I was a youth minister. I worked with Young Life in inner city Charlotte in my hometown. I tried to get young people like this out of their situation, try to get them out of the game. And to watch them start as innocent young men and end up hardened, broken, imprisoned, absolutely broke my heart. This series will get inside you. It will haunt you in enduring ways. The story of Michael will get to you. I know kids like Michael. I've endured people like Michael. He goes from a kid of great promise to a kid who's slipping away. I won't give away the ending. David Simon came and talked to us. Diane hosted it this spring. It was a powerful discussion of journalism. We can talk about that after. Is it an essential Jeremiah? Is it okay for 3 white guys to be talking about the problems of black inner city Baltimore? Or is it some form of enlightened racism? Maybe we don't watch the show because we think, it's an unsolvable problem. The show's so dark and so depressing that you don't even try. Final quote. The true achievement of The Wire is its understated indictment of the larger game that occurs off screen. As Anthony Walton says, as much as I enjoy crime and drama, I'm wary of shows that use urban suffering as a form for entertainment. I constantly search for the escape, the letting off the hook